everybody, it's Kai. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to a brand new speed build video. And I know I've been missing in action for quite a while now. I think it's been like a month. And it's because I've just lost my motivation to build. And I also just purchased this new pack, which is the Cottage living pack, and I'm enjoying it so far. And I do recommend it for you guys if you guys want to buy it. But anyways, we are we are building a rose cottage in the new world, which is something on Bagley. I'm not so sure what it's called, but it is something like that. And this build consists of 2 bedrooms and also 1 bathroom. It is a very small cottage in the middle of nowhere. As you can see from the surrounding, it is surrounded by a lot of trees and stuff like that. But before I talk further about this build, I just want to say that I hope that this time my motivation doesn't really go away as much as it did before. And I've just lost interest in building like for a few months. I think it is because of work and all sorts of things. Basically just, yeah, I was feeling very stressed out, and then I just, like, when I opened the game itself, The Sims I just didn't feel like building at all. And as you can hear also, I am quite feeling like a little bit awkward. I think it's because it's been a long time since I did a voiceover, but I really hope you guys will like this build and you guys don't mind that I am maybe stuttering a bit. And I really like this world, which is the new world, and it is very pretty. For the color scheme of this build, I decided to go with a pink and white color scheme. At first, I wanted to do like a beekeeper cottage or something like that, but then I saw one of my friends did that already, and I didn't want to do it because I thought maybe that they would think that I copied them or something. I had the idea like a long time ago, but I didn't like go with it because another person did it. But maybe I will do one beekeeper themed house in the future. And I also ran a poll that you guys voted. I think like 14 of you voted only, and a lot of you voted for farmer's cottage. And I actually tried to build one prior to this build, but I didn't complete it because it was a huge lot that I built on. I think it was a 50 by 50 or 64 by 64, one of the huge lots that came with the new world, and I just stopped halfway and just restarted and just built this thing over here. But I'm really hoping that maybe the next build or so I will go do a farmer's cottage. And it's because I think a lot of items in this pack are farmer related, a lot of crops I see, and also of course some ducks and that pond tool, which is amazing, by the way. I really like the pond tool, and it gives, I mean, I've waited for this pond tool for a really long time because it looks very natural, more than when you do it with a fountain. But I really like the tool, and I think it really helps builds, especially if I'm doing like some traditional looking builds with a lot of environmental objects, and I really think that it's very helpful. So kudos to the Sims team to include the pond tool. But as you can see, for the structure of the house, it is very basic. At first I didn't really know what kind of shape I wanted to go with, and so I kind of did this like octagonal shape. But I also didn't end up going like forward with that shape just because like it looked too awkward for me. So I just decided to keep it simple and basic, and just ended up doing this like rectangular shape. And also you can see that I also added some details on the walls, which is the ivy details. I'm not so sure if it's meant for like structures of like houses and stuff, because when I saw like the environment in this lot when I play tested it, the vines that you see that I put on the windows and walls are basically for like ancient ruins, and they are like crawling up on the walls of the ancient ruins. So I'm not so sure if the vines that came with the new pack is actually for like environmental object, or is it for like this urban or homes. But the landscaping for this build, I decided to include it in this video because I think a lot of times for my videos I actually just skip the landscaping part because it's too long for me. But I decided to include this in so I can give you guys a rough idea of how I landscape. I really like to landscape, but if it is like a huge lot, I really don't like it, because there is a lot to think of when you landscape a like much bigger lot like a 64 by 64 or 50 by 50. But this lot, in my opinion, was perfect for landscaping. And like I said, the color scheme is actually pink and also white, but in the end I think there are a lot of purples, because as you can see, I also use that, I'm not so sure what you call it, but it is that thing over here, the pagoda thing that came with the Spanish Heritage Month, I think. If for base game, I can't remember, but yeah, you can see that there are like purples there, and so the landscaping colors include purples and blues and also some red roses. I initially just used the pink hydrangeas, I think that's what you call it, but in the end I will be swapping them with the rose bush from the debug menu of the new pack, because I wanted to name the cottage, which is a rose cottage. But under the pagoda over here, I decided to turn it into like a tea party type of place where your Sims can just hang out and drink tea, and also enjoy the environment with a lot of plants. And they also have this plots of land for farming, and I was deciding whether to make this build like a residential or like a rental, because this lot is actually a rental lot. So I guess you can change it in the top left corner, which is the info menu. I'm not so sure because I didn't put it as a residential lot, but I put it as the lot that came like before, I mean as it is, which is a rental lot. So I guess you can also turn this into like a rental type of house for your Sims for vacation. But in the end, the number of Sims that you can put in this build is actually just 3 Sims. I don't think you can add in more bedrooms or beds, because the space is very limited in this build, and it was just enough for me to like landscape and also build the house itself. But we are moving on to the kitchen right now, and the kitchen is pink and white in color. I decided to go with the color scheme consistently for the inside and outside of the house. So yeah, as you can see, it is very pink. And at first I wanted to use the red counters that came with the new pack, but I decided to change it up to white counters, because I thought that the red counter colors were too dark and made the space look too crowded. So when I switched it to the white color for the cabinet, it ended up being much better, and it very suits, I think, the wallpaper also. And I really like the wallpaper. It's very brickish, but like I said, it makes the space look much more bigger when I put in the white counters instead of the red ones, and I really like how it turned out. And I really hope you guys will like the build itself too. But if you want to download this build from the gallery, you can do so, but just remember to, of course, enable the move objects sheet before you place the build itself, because some things might go missing if you don't enable the move objects sheet. But I'm pretty sure if you don't know how to like do that, you can always look it up on the internet or YouTube. I'm pretty sure a lot of other simmers also have some guides for you to place objects with cheats, and if you don't know how to do that, you better go check them out. But anyways, I also added in, oh yeah, I forgot to mention that this build is actually just base game and also the new pack, which is the cottage living, because I decided to make it an exclusive pack limited build to showcase all the items that came with the new pack. And I think that the number of items that they included is very enough. It's not too little, but it's not too much, and it fits the house perfectly for this one. Because of the space also, it is very small, so it is like just sufficient, and you don't need to add or remove anything. But over on the hallway over there, I decided to just add in this station. I'm not so sure what you call it, but I think it's a foraging station where your Sims come back to the house and then they put their foraged things over here. And I really like the idea of it, and it reminds me kind of Stardew Valley. I used to play that game, but I stopped playing it because I was too busy, and I really like that game also, so I think I better also like play that game again. And I really love that like clock over there that is sticking out of the wall, and it's from the new pack. It really looks vintage and I really like it. It is also like reminds me of like grandparents and stuff, and I don't know why, but I guess the design of it just reminds me of that. And also for the decorations of the walls, I decided to include a lot of like base game paintings and also some like sceneries and stuff like that. But over here is going to be the living room, which is pretty small. And for the fireplace over there, I sized down one of the fireplaces that came with the new pack because it was too big. And so I just sized it down, and it made the whole room look much better with some clutter here and there, but not too much. And also for the color scheme of the living room, of course, I'd also tried to add in a lot of clutter and also some cute dwarfs over there. You see that the dwarf with the sunflowers on it is very cute, and so I decided to just include it. Although I didn't include a TV in this, and if you want to include a TV in this, you have to do it yourself. Because I pictured that the Sims that go here, they don't really like watch TV or anything like that because they are out of touch with the outside world, and also because the environment around this build is actually just trees and green stuff, so there isn't a lot of like technology. But if you want to squeeze in a radio or a TV, you can do that, I guess. But we are moving on to the top floor right now, and we are starting off with the master bedroom over here, and I decided to use pink as the color scheme also. And I'm not so sure if the wallpaper color suits well with the color scheme, because I just randomly chose that wallpaper and it really looks nice in my opinion. It reminds me of like Cinderella and that scene where she turns a pumpkin, the fairy godmother turns a pumpkin into that vehicle, and the leaves of the wallpaper remind me of that, and I'm not so sure why, but it just looks like that. But there are a lot of windows actually for this build, so I just decided to play around with the windows that came with the new pack, which is a lot of windows. And there is one big window that has 3 windows in one row, and also like a semi-circle window at the top, and I couldn't really find a curtain for that even though I wanted to put one. And I'm not so sure why this occurs. Maybe it's because the curtain that they provided, there is only one curtain that is provided in the new pack, by the way. And I don't think that size curtain is sufficient enough, because when I try to put it on the long window, it didn't really take up the entire space. But anyways, also for the bathroom over here is pretty small because there's not a lot of space. But that's pretty much it for the end of the video, and I really hope you guys will like this build. If you do like this build, please give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and I'll talk to you guys in my next video.